ball is a ball of aged tea from 2016, and this tea is from a tea tree that is 100 years old. Here is the ball of pu'er tea, and pu'er tea is a type of black tea from Yunnan province in southern China. And the first time that I brew this tea, the tea is actually still compressed in a ball. So this infusion is pretty weak because only a little bit of the surface of the ball has been exposed to the water. So you don't really get much tea out of the first flush. So I'm going to dump it on my tea pet. And as you can see here, the tea ball has partially unfurled after that first flush. I'm giving those first 1 or 2 flushes of this tea ball to my tea pet because when the tea is still compressed in a ball, you don't really get much surface area of the tea exposed to the water to really give you like a stronger brew. So that's why a lot of people usually feed the first flush to the tea pet, but I'm feeling generous of feeding my tea pet twice. And now I'm going to show you today how much pu'er tea I'm going to brew out of this ball of pu'er tea, because I found that I actually use pu'er tea a lot in my everyday life. Like if I'm working all day and I need to be sipping a lot of hot flavored liquid, I tend to usually use a ball of pu'er tea because I found that I can make a lot of infusions of it to last me through the day. So today I'm really going to take you on a journey and show you like how many infusions can I get out of this tea, and also how does the taste of each infusion transform over time. After feeding those first 2 infusions to my tea pet, the ball of tea fully unfurled to become loose tea leaves. After gifting the tea to my tea pet, I began counting each infusion that I created as I brewed the tea. And if you look here, a brew from the Sky Wand fills up this amount of the pitcher. And I am representing through these teacups a sliver of each infusion. So I infused the Sky Wand the first time after the tea pet, and this is infusion number 1. This is infusion 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as you can see, a Sky Wand produces this much per infusion, but I saved a little bit into each teacup to represent each brew. And the color of each brew is different. And the taste is also different with each brew. Number 1 and number 2 are both very smooth. This is an aged pu'er, so it's a very smooth tea. And I've noticed that number 2 is noticeably darker in color, and the taste also is notably stronger. So it feels like a stronger pu'er taste in here. And then comparing number 2 to number 3, I feel like the pu'er taste got slightly lighter with number 3. And this is a little smoother, which is cool. So comparing 3 to number 4, it tastes pretty much the same, I would say. And then comparing number 5, I feel like the taste got a little lighter again, because you see when I brew each infusion, I use the Millet Labeling Teamaking Method. The Millet Labeling Teamaking Method is 3, 9, reverse, and low. So when I brew the tea, if this Sky Wand or a teapot is a clock, I pour the water in at 3 o'clock, and then when I pour in water into the Sky Wand or the teapot, I go reverse direction or counterclockwise, and then I pour water out of the Sky Wand or teapot at 9 o'clock. And low is a low pour. So the height of my pour is low, about halfway up the height of the lid. My pour is low, halfway up the height of the lid. I go in at 3, reverse direction counterclockwise, and end at 3. And then I'm going to pour the water out at 9 o'clock right away. In this tea making method, my infusion time is pretty much immediate. So when I put water into the Sky Wand, I'm usually pouring water out right away. So I do not let the tea steep for too long. This tea is very strong, so when I'm putting water into the tea leaves, a lot of the flavor and a lot of the properties of this tea rush out right away. I really like this tea making method because it brings out the true properties of the tea. There are multiple ways to brew tea, but the way I do it is by doing a low pour in at 3 and going reverse counterclockwise and then pouring out at 9, and also by pouring out right away. And so by pouring out right away, I'm able to make a lot more infusions of this tea. By now, this is the 10th infusion of the tea as represented in these teacups. So I'm going to taste test infusions 6 through 10 and see how they are. So I like infusion 6. I like that nice dark color. This is my favorite part of the pu'er transformation. It tastes very dark and rich, and I like that. Pretty much the same as the previous one, slightly lighter. Over here is notably lighter than the previous one, but I really like the taste of all of these infusions because this is pu'er tea and it's also aged pu'er tea. It's a Shu pu'er from 2016. So at the time of this video, this tea has been aged for 10 years. So I'm really enjoying the smoothness of all of these infusions. Okay, I really like this one. This one has good energy to it. And really, all of these infusions taste like a pu'er, and a pu'er is a type of a black tea. And the black tea is rich, dark, and earthy. And now I've brewed the tea through the 15th brew. And when it came to the steeping time, I originally poured the tea out right away, and then I steeped this one in for about 30 seconds, and then I steeped number 15 for a minute because I walked away and forgot about it. So I'm gonna go taste the pu'er. Both are very smooth. It's a nice, rich black tea. And feeling the flavor waning ever so slightly. I believe this one I steeped for a bit longer. Yeah, I can feel more pu'er. While I usually steep initially because when it came to like the first brew, I only steeped it for 1 second and then I poured it out and it was pretty rich and flavorful. But then as time goes on, the flavor tended to wane. So what I did is that I would increase the steeping time to kind of get more flavor out of the tea leaves. I can taste how I was steeping this one for longer and this one for longer because I feel like more of the flavor is working its way back in to the tea. And this is the one I steeped for a minute because I forgot about it. Yeah. Oh yeah. I really like that. So when it comes to steeping time, if you're using the Millet Labeling Teamaking Method, I recommend those first few infusions, you pour it out right away. And then after that, you will steep it for like 3 seconds, 10 seconds, and then over time, maybe increase to 30 seconds. And if the flavor is getting really weak, increase to 1 minute. So tea is very dynamic because every single cup tastes different and every single brew tastes different. You're making tea for yourself. So if it's your tea, I hope that you really play around with tea and you discover what pouring it out right away tastes, and then what steeping it for longer tastes, and then what really works best for your interests. And also another thing I discovered is that I usually use this pu'er tea as a work tea. So when I'm doing my work and I need to, so ideally, I would love to sit at the Gong Fu tea set all day and drink tea in these little cups, but I do need to work. So there are some days where, as I do my work, I really need a full mug of flavored hot liquid nearby. So what I usually do is that I'll take my tea set and I'll brew tea this way, and then I'll pour it into the pitcher, and then I'll pour it into a mug from here. And so I end up drinking a lot of tea combined in a mug at a time. And here are two of the mugs that I filled up with tea. And I noticed that the tea liquid looks really a lot darker in these mugs. So when I'm piling like multiple infusions up in these mugs, I'm finding that the color is darker. And now I'm going to drink from the mugs and see how the taste of the mug tea compares to the little cup tea. This reminds me more of how I usually drink this tea, because I usually drink the tea after I put it into mugs, and I have more tea layered on top of each other, and I find that it makes the tea more darker and more richer. I have now brewed this pu'er tea 20 times, and this is a 4-ounce gaiwan, and here is how much a single brew makes. And so I actually made 20 of these. So 4 ounces times 20 is 80 ounces of tea. And all of these tea cups only scratch the surface of how much tea I made. I have filled up 3 mugs of tea. I have drank so much tea. I am drowning in tea. And for these final 5 infusions, I ended up steeping each infusion for 1 minute, just to kind of extract more taste and flavor as the tea weakens. It's still flavorful. Like, it's not as strong as it was during those first 5 infusions, but it still is flavorful because I steeped it for longer. These all taste pretty much the same. So I could probably brew it a few more times, but it is starting to be more like mildly flavored water. Over here is a bird's eye view of all of those infusions, 1 through 20. And as you can see at the very start, it's very dark, very strong brew. And then over time it lightened, so I began steeping the tea for longer to kind of bring out more flavor. But by the time I reached 19 and 20, even when steeping, it kind of felt like mildly flavored water, so I was done. This single ball of tea is 8 grams, and the whole bag is 250 grams of balls of pu'er tea. And if you're interested in purchasing this tea, you can find the link to this tea in the description. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video of me making 80 ounces of pu'er tea, and I hope that you enjoy tea and enjoy life.